Throughout World War II, executions were carried out en masse inside the concentration camps. There were gallows made in most sites, and there were lots of people dragged up to their deaths on these structures. But within one of the roughest and most harrowing camps was a set of steps known as the Stairs of Death, and around this was pure horror. This was the place where prisoners were thrown off a cliff by the SS guards, and the stairs became a symbol of the punishment, imprisonment, and suffering of thousands of people. But how did it become a place of execution, and why was it so barbaric? Welcome to That's Grim. To support our channel, please make sure to subscribe. Mauthausen Concentration Camp was a place in which roughly 190,000 prisoners were locked up inside the 7 years that the camp was open within Upper Austria. It was a camp where there was a large granite quarry, and the prisoners were ordered to work incredibly hard here, and they were kept in very rough and terrible conditions. Some prisoners were skilled and were given jobs such as stonemasonry, but most were ordered to carry incredibly heavy blocks all day, being driven by the SS guards ruthlessly all day long. The death rate inside of Mauthausen was incredibly high, and roughly inmates at the end of the war lived around 3 months on average. The work in the quarries was rough, especially throughout the cold winter months and the hot summers, and there was not sufficient clothing for the inmates. But one of the worst parts of Mauthausen was the Stairs of Death. This was a flight of stairs which led to a huge rock quarry, and most of the daily work inside of the site was completed there. Specifically, there were 186 large and uneven stone steps, and prisoners were forced up and down the steps carrying stones, which were as heavy as 50 kilograms in weight, and these would then be used for the Nazi building projects. Large groups were ordered up the steps together, and the SS guards whipped them to make them go quicker, and with this there were a lot of accidents, as there was no hospital or medical care given out to them. Prisoners would fall and take out those behind them, and this would cause many injuries. One former prisoner of Mauthausen who was forced up and down the steps claimed, "Those who visit the Mauthausen quarry today don't see the same thing, for since then the steps have been redone, a real stairway cemented and regular. At that time they were simply cut with a pick into the clay and rock, held in place by logs, unequal in height and tread, and therefore extremely difficult, not only for climbing but also for the descent. Stones rolled under our wooden-soled sandals, and we were forced to keep moving at a very rapid pace. The work consisted of carrying up a stone of considerable size and weight along the 186 steps, after which there was still a considerable distance to cover. The man who chose a stone found to be too small was out of luck, and all of this went on at a rate of 8 to 10 trips per day. The pace was infernal, without a second's rest. The SS guards played a sick and brutal game with the prisoners based around the steps too, as at the top of the cliff they were involved in what was known as a Parachutists Wall. This was where an SS officer gathered a number of prisoners on the edge of the cliff, and these prisoners were then lined up. They were forced at gunpoint to push the inmate in front of them off the cliff, and then someone would fall to their deaths, and then the prisoners, if they did not do this, were shot in the head. It was kill or be killed, and one inmate claimed, if you stopped for a moment, the SS either shot you or pushed you off the cliff to your death. It was also claimed that, for 2 days the SS drove the prisoners up and down the steps. On the third day, driven by despair, the remaining victims joined hands and leapt over the precipice to their deaths in the quarry below. Mauthausen Concentration Camp was a terrifying and ruthless sight, and inside of here were many other execution methods used. But the Stairs of Death was a harrowing structure that was involved in the deaths of so many. Thanks for watching. To support our channel, please make sure to subscribe, and once again, thank you so much for watching.